The skies above the broken kingdom of Liriat burned with streaks of silver as fragments of shattered towers drifted across the horizon like dying stars. For months the land had lived under the shadow of a threat no one in the known sectors had understood. The people of Liriat had called for aid across every channel, every wave of transmission, every diplomatic line they could reach. Silence had answered their messages. Only silence. The Queen of Liriat, known to her people simply as Lyra, stood at the edge of the citadel balcony and watched the sun fall behind the ruins. Her silver cloak fluttered in the wind. Her antennae lowered in quiet despair. She felt the weight of every life behind her. She felt the trembling steps of her army as they prepared for a last stand. She felt the fear that had hardened into acceptance. No one was coming. Lyra had sent her last plea that morning. A message projected into open space. A message stripped of formality, stripped of diplomatic elegance. A message that was little more than a whisper of survival. She had begged for help, her voice echoing with sincerity that hurt to speak. She feared the cry would be swallowed again by the same void that had answered every prior call. The silence was no longer a surprise. It was expected. It was something she had learned to brace against. Her general, a towering warrior named Rao, approached with heavy steps. His armor was scratched from countless battles. His face bore the calm of someone who had already accepted the end. He stopped beside her and looked across the dying land. The fields that once glowed with luminous flowers now lay flattened under the weight of craters. The rivers once bright with crystal light now ran dark. "It is almost time," Rao said. His voice was strong but not harsh. Lyra nodded. "We will stand. We will stand," Rao repeated. He did not mention their fading chances. He did not mention the overwhelming force marching toward them from the north. Everyone in the citadel already knew. The invaders came in endless waves, each one stronger than the last. Each step their enemy took crushed more of Liriat. Lyra lifted her hand to the sky. The light from the falling sun glinted on the crest of her crown. "I had hoped," she said. "I truly had hoped." Rao bowed his head. "Your people know you have done everything possible. I fear it is not enough." Rao was silent. Below them, the soldiers of Liriat moved with weary purpose. Their armor of gleaming crystal plates was cracked and dulled. Their weapons hummed with unstable power. Yet their posture remained steady. They were prepared to defend their queen. They were prepared to protect what remained of their home. A soft vibration resonated through the air. Lyra lifted her gaze. A transmission beacon flashed weakly on the corner of the balcony. It pulsed once, then again, then again. She froze. Rao turned toward it, his eyes narrowing. "Is that one of ours?" "No," Lyra whispered. She stepped toward the beacon, her heart hammered. She pressed her palm against the control pad. The beacon expanded into a shimmering hologram. A voice followed, deep, steady, human. "This is Commander Mark of the Earth Vanguard," the voice said. "We received your call." The balcony fell silent except for the wind. Raoul stared at the hologram with disbelief. Soldiers below lifted their heads. Workers stopped what they were doing. Even the hum of the citadel's aging power lines seemed to pause. Lyra's pulse quickened. "Earth," she repeated softly. "You are from Earth." "Yes, Queen Lyra," the voice said. "We are here to answer your plea for help." Her hands trembled. She steadied them. Her army gathered behind her, drawn by the impossible sound. "You received our message," she said. "We received all of them," the commander replied. "We were delayed, but we are coming in full strength now." "How many of you?" Rao asked, his tone almost cautious. "Enough," Mark said. The hologram flickered. Lyra leaned closer. "Commander, our enemy approaches. They are powerful. They have destroyed every ally we once had." "We know," the commander said. "Hold your ground. We will be there shortly." The hologram faded. The beacon darkened. Lyra stared at the empty space where the image had been. She took a slow breath. She felt a warmth rise in her chest. Hope. It felt unfamiliar after so long. It felt sharp and bright and almost painful. Ral stepped forward. "Do you trust them?" Lyra nodded. "Earth has always acted with honor. If they say they will come, then they will come." The army whispered among themselves. Some felt relief. Some felt confusion. Some felt disbelief. But they all felt something they had not felt in months. A flicker of rising strength. A spark. The ground suddenly shook. A rumbling thunder rolled across the northern plains. The enemy had arrived. Lyra and Ral rushed to the edge of the balcony. A vast shadow moved across the landscape. Towers of black metal shifted as the enemy advanced. Their monstrous machines marched in synchronized lines. The air around them vibrated with a droning hum. Ral clenched his fists. "Even with help, this will be difficult." "We will not falter," Lyra said. The first blasts of enemy fire lit the sky with streaks of crimson. The Lyrial shields shimmered in response. Soldiers scrambled into formation. Crystals hummed as power surged through defensive grids. But the enemy was too many. They moved like an ocean, swallowing the shore. Lyra watched as their beams tore through abandoned structures and scorched the plains. She gripped the balcony rail. Earth must hurry. Moments later, the sky cracked open with thunder that was not thunder. Blue streaks blazed across the heavens. Trails of silver fire cut through clouds as dozens of ships burst into view. Sleek, metallic, sharp-winged, engines blazing like miniature suns. The Earth Vanguard had arrived. A voice echoed across the battlefield through a universal channel. Calm, firm, human. This is the Earth Vanguard. Liriat forces hold your line. Reinforcements inbound. Human dropships descended with precise coordination. They hit the ground with force that kicked up towers of dust. Metal ramps slammed open. Soldiers marched out in tight formations. Their armor glowed with energy fields that crackled with protective strength. Their weapons hummed with a power unfamiliar to Liriat technology. Commander Mark stepped to the front. His armor was angular and dark, with a pale emblem shining on his chest. His face bore the calm confidence of someone who had seen many battles and refused to yield to any. He raised his weapon. "Vanguard, advance." The Earth troops moved as one. They charged forward with steady speed. Their firepower erupted like controlled storms. Energy bolts shot across the field. Explosions lit up the sky. The invaders staggered under the sudden resistance. Lyra watched with awe. Earth soldiers did not fight like anyone she had ever seen. They were disciplined, yet fierce. Calculated, yet bold. Every movement held purpose. Every step pushed the enemy farther back. Ral stared in astonishment. "They fight as if the world itself depends on it." Lyra nodded. "Perhaps to them, it does." Mark's voice thundered through the coms again. "Queen Lyra, we have control of the front line. Direct your forces to support our flank." Lyra responded swiftly. She rushed down the citadel steps to join her army on the field. Rel followed, shouting commands. Lyrial soldiers formed new ranks and surged forward beside the humans. The battlefield became a storm of colors. Blue energy from Earth rifles. Silver beams from Lyrial crystals. Red flashes from the invaders. Smoke rolled across the plains. The ground quaked with impacts. Mark sprinted through the chaos, his movements fluid and disciplined. He shouted orders that cut clean through the noise. His soldiers responded without hesitation. Lyrial warriors followed suit. Their combined strength created a wall of force that pushed the enemy back step by step. Lyra held her spear tight. She fought at the front line, striking with precision. Ral fought beside her, covering her flanks. Every warrior of Liriat fought with renewed spirit. They felt the strength of Earth at their backs. They felt hope in every blast of human fire. As the battle raged, the invaders roared and surged forward in a last desperate push. Their machines towered over the field, firing beams that shook the ground. One of the largest machines stepped toward Lyra and Mark. Its cannon glowed with rising heat. Mark lifted his arm. Focus fire on the central joint. Earth soldiers locked onto the target. Lyrial warriors unleashed crystal blasts. The machine staggered but did not fall. It prepared to fire. Lyra rushed forward. She leapt high, her spear glowing with energy. She struck the machine's weakened joint. A crack of light shot across its structure. Mark fired a clean shot at the same point. The machine collapsed. The battlefield fell into shocked silence for one brief moment. Then the invaders began to retreat. Their formation broke. Their machines faltered. Their forces scattered in retreating waves. Earth and Liriat forces pressed forward together. They drove the enemy far beyond the borders until the threat dissolved into distant shadows. When silence finally settled over the plains, Lyra stood with trembling breath. She looked around at the survivors. She looked at the humans. She looked at Mark. He stepped forward. His armor was scorched. His brow was streaked with dust. But his eyes held steady confidence. "You sent a call," he said. "We answered." Lyra bowed her head in gratitude. "You saved us. You saved my people." Mark shook his head. "You saved yourselves by refusing to give up. We only arrived to stand with you." Ral approached and placed a hand over his chest. "We owe you a debt we can never repay." "You do not owe us anything," Mark said. "Earth helps those who need it. That is our way. Lear,